This one's going to be a bit of a weird one. If you're my professor, go ahead and just skip to the timestamp that I've put on the screen somewhere right here. If you're not, let me explain everything. I took a course for Shakespeare's Hamlet, something that you were probably forced to read and pretended to during high school. I had a creative final project, so I was just like, hey, why don't I test the video essay format that I'm preparing for a year now, and I haven't been able to finish any of the video essays that I've had scripts for like a year now. I'm sorry. Look, I'll make them later, but for now, I've got to bridge the gap between my online audience of friends who plays video games and my professor who wants something at least slightly educational. So, here we go. For this video, I'm not Skylar, the XV-tubing Destiny playing video delaying gamer. I'm just Ashley, with a bed of props to my right and a script to my left. The point of this that I want to make is that Hamlet, the original text, is in fact one of the world's greatest pieces of media. Each line is packed with layers upon layers of detail, and it all comes together in a compelling tragedy that you can derive detail out of even the smallest of words. And take it from me, I wrote an essay on it. But if you're like most people and are from the 16th century, the language is probably rather dense. I mean, if you read Macbeth or Romeo and Juliet in high school, you probably know what No Fear Shakespeare or SparkNotes is. I mean, I did. Often, people interact with Shakespeare's work in a way that's more digestible than the original text. Look, I get it. Before studying English in university, I took as little time as I could to read, and that meant finding digestible summaries on whatever books that we were looking at, and just trying to get through it as quickly as possible. It was the way that I could interact with the text, and that was the only way that made it digestible to me to a point where I could actually read it. Look, I know you can't be bothered to read hours of text and decipher the meaning, so just stick with me and listen, and I can hopefully not change your mind. I'm not trying to. What I want to argue in this video is this. Hamlet as a text cannot be translated. It can be adapted. The course I took was all about the various adaptations of Hamlet. Some were good, some were borderline unwatchable in my opinion. However, after thoroughly reading through the entirety of the original text of Hamlet, I can say what that feeling is that I had while watching these adaptations. Hamlet as a piece has done something very interesting by packing layer upon layer of wordplay within every sentence, and that's making it untranslatable to a modern audience. Take my favorite line in the play, a little more than kin and less than kind. This is said to Claudius, the new king and the cousin of Hamlet after he becomes Hamlet's son through marriage. There's a multitude of wordplay placed within these, such as a little more than kin referring to the incestuous relationship, as well as a little less than kind referring both to their relationship and also to the meaning of being pleasant. His future line directed at Claudius after this is, "Not so, my lord, for I am too much in the sun," which plays off the homonym of son, once again taking a jab at the nature of the ceremony. It'd take me a whole video to break down all of its context, but the point is that the modern retelling of Shakespeare from SparkNotes loses the subtle wordplay with kind and directly refers the homonym to direct text. Look, even if you see this translation as keeping the amazing parts of those two lines, the problem is that the point isn't about those meanings. These lines were instead meant to lead into discussion of depression, with further lines never calling back to what is placed in the spotlight. To deny the original phrasing and to even replace a word within this play would be blasphemous, and I will personally see to it that you are smitten by the gods and banished to a realm forgotten by time. Whew. Alright, I got a bit heated. The point is that these translations inherently are going to lose value, but I'm sure you're quite aware of that. If you're part of my general audience, you're probably listening to covers of Japanese artists or Vocaloid translated to English. The point I'm trying to make is not that you have to perceive art through its original tongue, it's that the translation methods will always never be able to keep everything. But enjoying musical media doesn't require you to make perfect sense of the words or for there to be a ton of wordplay. I just specifically see Shakespeare as something layered with wordplay that cannot be translated without inherently losing the value that makes it so special. However, that is why I added that little caveat to the claim that I said. An adaptation takes pieces of the story and transforms it into a completely new piece of media. This can be done in a multitude of ways, and of course not all of them have been done, you know. You could probably try to take Romeo and Juliet and place every single word into the setting of like a New York style. Nah, I'm just kidding. That one's already been made with Leonardo DiCaprio. You remember that one? Sorry, let me focus on things that haven't been done. Maybe you could make a subtle retelling of Hamlet with, animals ruling the jungle. And I'm just kidding. That's the Lion King, baby. But truly, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of these already exist. and a lot of them you probably already enjoy. The thing is that adaptations and derivative art can take all of the incredible pieces from these borderline unreadable texts and translate them to a modern audience in a way that you can understand and enjoy. It doesn't lose the original meaning. The original meaning wasn't necessary for the adaptation. What I'm trying to say is that translating the text and trying to force feed it into you is just going to get you a gummy, watered down version of it, or at worst is just not going to help you retain it at all. Instead, I implore you to enjoy adaptations that take things from the piece of media you want to watch and instead put it in a modern, enjoyable way that you can actually digest. Even you, one day, can create a piece of media inspired by one of these famous works. You might not even know it. So, with my final few moments I'm allowed in this video essay, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to make my own adaptation of Hamlet and preserve his famous soliloquy. I'm going to do it the only way I know how. Being terminally online in cringe. I'm sorry. To stream or not to stream? That is the question. Whether true cringe lies in the depths of Twitch in order to beg for primes and subs, or to find content in the sea of Twitter, and by opposing, end it, to like, to retweet. No more. And in our lurk to say we end the hours of editing the 1,000 hydrates that come every stream. It's a fate who those around me seem to envy, to watch, to follow, to perhaps to get sometimes one of those little hearts next to my comments. Yes, that's it. But for in our feed what Let's Plays may come when we have uninstalled Adobe. We stop, we worry, that's the reason. That makes long creation find meaning, for people would take on endless hate and heckling, copyright strikes, unfair pay splits, parasocial relationships, and the worst, impatient chargebacks on birthdays. With no clear end of bait Twitter takes, when would you simply pull the plug and uninstall? Who would alt-tab, pour time and money under watchful audiences? Unless they were scared of being a viewer, being undiscovered from the eyes of others. Were you forgotten? The answer's hidden. To lie in bed with Doritos and half-finished sodas, than to get a payout from Twitch bits. So anxiety makes us afraid of trying, and thus the urge to record becomes quieter each session further. Our videos that should become public with this feeling I left unlisted, and are private. Ah, quiet now. The poggers Ophelia has...
What the fuck are you doing?
And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm so sorry if that's going to live in your mind at the deepest of nights and keep you awake at night. That's probably a little too strong to start the outro with, huh? If you're my professor, hey, you can leave now. Go ahead and grade this a C or whatever, and I'll take it. However, I honestly think that this came out pretty damn good. I'm really surprised at how fun it was to do this, and it makes sense. Look, when I was going to originally make this idea, I swear to you, I was just going to throw poggers and weird champ into like the original Shakespeare text and just call it a day. But I took a lot of time to actually try to create some nuance and like preserve it while also making it digestible. And it worked really well. That is all. And I am finally done with everything I need to do for my quarter. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means, dear viewer? I'm streaming again. That's right. Right now I'm streaming. Go check. Right now I'm live. If you're watching this video when it came out, I am live literally right now. Go to the link in the description. Along with that is going to be whatever streams I decide to do during the course of December, and hopefully the charity stream, which I have been planning in the background, and I'm really excited to do again this year. End of the video spiel. Yes, this time I am making videos, and yes, I have footage to prove it. So there, you can expect that soon, but I needed to finish this project because it's due on Monday. I'm cutting it a little close.